Question: real estate in California. What the Seriously, can someone help? What's an escrow? What's an ARM? What is an REO? What is pre-approval? Can I get pre-approval? Why is inventory so low? Why are interest rates so high? Oh, interest rates not so high? How low is low? How not so high is right?
Before you go down the road of questions, get expert help at championsofhome.com. California Association of Realtors. Who's your realtor?
Hey everyone, welcome to Dead Frequency Midnight. This is where the signal never really dies, it just gets darker. If you're into unsettling horror, disturbing mysteries, and stories that feel a little too real to ignore, you're exactly where you need to be. Make sure you follow Dead Frequency Midnight so you don't miss what comes next, because every episode goes deeper, and every story hits harder. And if you're into real cases and true crime, check out my other podcast, The Black Hour, where the stories aren't just dark, they're real. Now, turn off the lights, put your headphones on, and let's begin. In October of 2016, Aaron Hale took a contract job in a nearly abandoned town in northern Nevada, a place that didn't just feel empty, it felt left behind. The kind of place where time didn't move forward, it just stopped. The only structure that seemed untouched by that decay was the church at the edge of the town, standing alone like it had outlived everything else for a reason. Aaron had worked on old buildings before, but the moment he stepped inside, something felt wrong in a way he couldn't explain. It wasn't fear, not yet. It was recognition, like some part of him understood something his mind hadn't caught up to. The inside of the church looked partially restored, but not in a normal way. The fire damage was still visible on the walls, blackened streaks climbing upward like something had tried to escape and failed. The air felt dense, almost humid, but not from heat. It carried a faint metallic scent that lingered in the back of his throat. At the far end stood the altar, but the space in front of it felt heavier than the rest of the room, like the building itself was centered around it. The floor there didn't match anything else. It wasn't just darker, it looked layered, like multiple surfaces pressed together over time, hiding something that didn't belong. Aaron was told not to touch it. The warning was short, almost rehearsed, like it had been given to others before him. But the way it was said didn't feel protective. It felt like someone repeating a rule they didn't fully understand anymore. That was the first thing that stayed with him, not the warning itself, but the feeling that it had been passed down without explanation. The nights were where things began to change. Aaron didn't wake up suddenly, he surfaced slowly, like he was being pulled out of something deeper than sleep. Every time, it was the same.
Question: real estate in California. What the Seriously, can someone help? What's an escrow? What's an ARM? What is an REO? What is pre-approval? Can I get pre-approval? Why is inventory so low? Why are interest rates so high? Oh, interest rates not so high? How low is low? How not so high is right?
Before you go down the road of questions, get expert help at championsofhome.com. California Association of Realtors. Who's your realtor?
Moment. 3:07 a.m. The air in the trailer felt different when he woke up, heavier, harder to breathe, like something had filled the space while he was unconscious. On the third night, he realized the silence wasn't actually silence. There was a sound beneath it, something so low it felt more like a vibration than a noise. It wasn't coming from outside. It was coming from the direction of the church. When he stepped outside, the world felt muted. The sky looked darker than it should have, like the light from the stars wasn't reaching the ground. The church door was open, even though he had locked it. The sound was clearer now, not wind, not movement, but voices layered together so tightly they blurred into something unnatural. It didn't sound like speaking. It sounded like something trying to remember how to speak. The moment Aaron stepped inside, the sound stopped completely, but the silence that replaced it felt worse. It wasn't empty. It felt occupied. The air inside the church pressed against him, thick and unmoving. The floor in front of the altar had changed again. It looked wet, but not with water. The surface had a slight movement to it, subtle but constant, like something beneath it was breathing slowly. He didn't want to get closer, but he did anyway. As he stepped forward, the smell became stronger, metallic and warm, like something organic that had been sealed away too long. When he shined his flashlight down, the surface reacted. It shifted, just slightly, like something underneath had turned toward the light. Aaron stepped back instinctively, his body reacting before his thoughts could form. That was the first moment he understood something important. Whatever was below that floor was aware. The next day, everything returned to normal, but the memory didn't fade. It got sharper. The way the surface moved, the way it reacted, the way it felt like it was looking back at him. That kind of detail doesn't disappear. It settles in. By the afternoon, the warning he had been given didn't matter anymore. It wasn't curiosity that drove him. It was something closer to recognition, like he had already made the decision the moment he first saw the floor. When he pulled the boards up, he expected a crawl space, maybe a foundation gap, something explainable. What he saw instead didn't make sense. The space beneath wasn't confined. It didn't feel like part of the structure. It felt open. Not wide, not tall, just endless in a way that didn't follow normal space. His flashlight didn't reach anything. The beam didn't reflect. It just disappeared. And then, something moved in that darkness. Not quickly, not suddenly, but slowly, like something shifting into position after being still for a long time. When the voice came, it didn't come from below. It came from everywhere at once. It didn't echo, it didn't travel, it simply existed in the space around him. It told him to stay. Not as a command. Not as a warning. As a fact.
Are high-interest credit cards or personal loans weighing you down? Unlock gives homeowners a smarter option. With a home equity agreement, you can tap into your home's equity for cash today, and there are no monthly payments. Here's how it works. Unlock provides funds upfront, and in exchange, shares in a portion of your home's future value. That means you keep control, with the flexibility to use your equity your way. Pay off bills, invest in home improvements, or set aside savings for peace of mind. For thousands of homeowners, Unlock has been the key to moving forward without the pressure of another payment. Put your equity to work for you. Visit unlock.com to learn more about a home equity agreement. That's unlock.com to learn more.
Terms and conditions apply. Not all homeowners will qualify. Not available in all states. Actor Portrayal. Home equity agreements are offered by Unlock Home Equity Solutions, Inc. In certain states, NMLS number 2657081. Visit www.consumeraccess.org for more info.
Aaron stepped back. But something about the voice didn't create fear. It created stillness. Like moving away from it didn't make sense. That night, he didn't wait for anything to happen. He knew it would. At 3:07 a.m., the lights in the church turned on by themselves, flickering in a pattern that didn't feel random. The shadows inside didn't match the structure of the room. They moved in ways that suggested depth where there shouldn't be any. When the door opened, the voices returned, but this time they were clearer. They weren't whispering anymore. They were repeating something in unison, over and over again, not louder, just closer. Aaron walked toward the church without hesitation. It didn't feel like a choice anymore. The closer he got, the more the environment around him seemed to fade. The air grew heavier, the ground felt less stable, like it wasn't fully solid anymore. When he stepped inside, the church didn't feel like a building. It felt like a boundary. The floor in front of the altar had completely changed. It wasn't wood anymore. It wasn't even solid. It looked like a dark surface that couldn't decide what it was, shifting slowly, as if something beneath it was trying to push through without fully breaking it. The shapes below it were clearer now. Not outlines. Forms. Bodies that didn't stay still long enough to fully recognize, constantly shifting, overlapping, pressing upward. One of them reached the surface. Not breaking through. Just pressing. A face formed against it, stretched unnaturally, the features distorted as if they were being forced into shape from something that didn't understand human structure anymore. The eyes opened, but they didn't focus. They moved slowly, searching, until they found Aaron. The mouth began to move, not speaking, just repeating a motion like it was trying to remember how sound worked. The surface broke. Not violently. Quietly. Like it had been waiting to open. Hands came through first, too many to count, moving without coordination, each one acting on its own, reaching, searching, grabbing at nothing until they found something solid. When they touched Aaron's legs, the temperature dropped instantly. Not cold like air. Cold like absence. Like something pulling heat out instead of absorbing it. He tried to step back, but the ground beneath him shifted, losing its shape, becoming unstable. His foot sank slightly, then deeper, like he was standing on something that was giving way beneath him. The more he moved, the less resistance there was. The floor wasn't breaking. It was letting him in. As he fell forward, the last thing he saw wasn't a pit or a space below. It was movement. Endless movement. Layers of shapes, bodies, faces, all shifting, overlapping, existing in a way that didn't follow direction or gravity. And in the middle of it, something larger, something that didn't move like the rest, something that stayed still while everything else moved around it. Watching. Aaron Hale didn't just disappear. The place where he stood was later found completely intact, the floor restored perfectly, with no sign it had ever been disturbed. But people who visited the church after that reported something else. They said the air inside felt heavier than it should. They said the silence didn't feel empty. And some of them claimed that if they stood in the right spot, just in front of the altar, and stayed completely still, they could feel something beneath them. Not moving. Not rising. Just waiting. Because whatever was below that church didn't open once. It stays open. And it doesn't need to pull you in. Eventually, you step forward on your own. And just like that, the signal fades. If this story stayed with you, make sure you're following Dead Frequency Midnight, because it only gets darker from here. New episodes drop regularly, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. And if you're into real stories, real crimes, and cases that actually happened, check out my other podcast, The Black Hour, where the horror isn't imagined, it's real. Until next time, keep the lights low, and your guard up. Because some stories don't end. They just wait. Good night.
Question: real estate in California. What the Seriously, can someone help? What's an escrow? What's an ARM? What is an REO? What is pre-approval? Can I get pre-approval? Why is inventory so low? Why are interest rates so high? Oh, interest rates not so high? How low is low? How not so high is right.
Before you go down the road of questions, get expert help at championsofhome.com. California Association of Realtors. Who's your realtor?